Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. Hope y'all are doing good tonight. Lots of crazy stuff going on. The House of Representatives is looking to vote on some new gun control bills, universal background checks, a new bill that would put NICS into a system where it could actually make your delays go into perpetuity, where you might never get approved. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm not really going to focus on that tonight. Tonight, I want to talk about there's all these new gun owners, right? And maybe some of you are watching right now. And I want to talk about what that actually means for the Second Amendment. Yeah, how you guys can get prepared, and I'll talk about some tips for that. There's logistics. What gun do you need? What ammo do you need? How much? That's all great. But just remember, everybody, the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That wasn't just for us to be able to protect our homes. Of course, we have the right to do that. And of course, that's one of the main reasons why people are doing it. No, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state is why the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And don't forget that. See, this is a government that's supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people. And if the government is no longer there, right, to perpetuate and to defend our pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, that's when the Declaration says it's time to abolish such government and to form a new government. So that's how our country was founded. And I hear all the time, and I get it, you have to reference the Second Amendment because that's what was enumerated in the Bill of Rights. But we need to remember, no matter what, and we'll talk about it more tonight, that the Second Amendment wasn't given to us by our founding fathers. It wasn't given to us by any person that was ever elected. Your rights were endowed by your Creator. They were given to you by God. And if people are wondering why, after all these years, we still have the right to keep and bear arms, it's because we've always had the right, and we always will have that right. But let me tell you what, people in the government are really, really trying to take that away. And if people want to know why they have the ability in the United States of America, for example, to go out and buy their first shotgun, pistol, AR, whatever it is that a lot of people bought this year. If you're new and you're watching this, I'm trying to remind you, but I think all of us that know people, friends, family, coworkers that are just getting into guns, this is my encouragement to you. This is where we really need to remind these people. Now, we don't need to be mean to them. We need to encourage them. And I certainly encourage new gun owners as much as anybody does. But really, it doesn't matter how many guns we own unless or until people are actually going to stand for what the Second Amendment was supposed to stand for, which is our pre-existing, God-given natural rights that predated this government. And governments can come and go, but rights, as long as we're there to fight for them and keep them, is something we'll always have. And the Second Amendment, again, I love the whole Bill of Rights. These are prohibitions on the government, right? Telling the government, don't tread on me. But I truly believe the Second Amendment is extra special because it's there for if and when they ignore all the rest. And in many cases, they are ignoring all the rest, which is kind of cool because I'm going to talk about the 10th Amendment a little bit today. Michigan, their Senate just passed a pro 2A resolution, if you will, but really a nice pro 10th Amendment resolution talking about states' rights with the right to keep and bear arms. We're going to go over that. We're also going to go over that, of course, the left, in this case, some of the Democrats in the Michigan legislature that are coming out citing insurrection and all these crazy fear-mongering things, right? And it's like, well, why do they want to keep us afraid? Well, duh, because if we're afraid, then we're going to need them. We're going to need them to protect us. See, they want to protect us, is what they say. But really, they want to take away all of our rights where we're completely and utterly subservient to them and where we require them to have permission to live, to travel, to eat, to keep and bear arms, all these things. So it was pretty cool what happened in Michigan. But of course, like I said, there's some liberals that just couldn't keep their nose out of it. And we'll definitely discuss that too. As you guys can see, I have some cool new friends today. Of course, Lami, obviously. We have Aunt Jemima in the house. We also have Mr. Potato Head. And I'll bring this out and show you guys just a little bit closer. This is actually the special edition Elvis Presley, Mr. Potato Head. So we're not all about getting canceled here, guys. We don't want to cancel the Second Amendment. I don't want to cancel Mr. Potato Head. Why would I want to cancel the beautiful Aunt Jemima? Why would anybody? We also like to read good quality literature here. And before it gets any later, first of all, I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for all of you that support the channel with your continued super chats in these streams. The people that have joined up as channel members, Patreon. I literally couldn't do it without you guys. This YouTube channel, this is like, not my job. Like I was working all the way today. That's why I was a few minutes late. And it's been my most expensive hobby. So thank you so much for everyone that's helped the channel. And it really lets me know that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. It gives me the motivation to keep going. Now, look, there's other ways to support the channel. Just leaving comments, watching the videos, telling all your friends about it. And I also have the Amazon link down in the description, which costs you literally nothing. And that helps me buy new stuff too. So I appreciate the many ways all of you contribute. And it's always awesome hanging out with you guys. America the Free with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Says, keep calm and carry on. I love me some hyper, brother. Unconstitutional is unlawful. And it is. And these are things that I'm not going to compromise on. We can compromise and we can argue over whether we like 762 by 39 or whether we like 556 better. We can argue about whether we should pave our roads. There's many things. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, when it comes to the God-given rights that were given to me by my Creator, I'm sorry, guys, there just is no compromise because all we've done for decades now, really almost for the last 100 years, just remember the National Firearms Act was 1934. And now we're up to where technically, if you look at all the little statutes, there's like tens of thousands of gun control statutes and regulations, bureaucratic interpretations, right? On the books. And they're not going to stop. They don't want to compromise. They're never, ever going to stop until they completely ban the Second Amendment, until they literally get rid of our right to keep and bear arms. Some of you are going to disagree with me. There's probably somebody right now, as fast as they can, saying, ain't nobody coming for your guns. I wish you were right. I really do. And hopefully we could have a day where you're telling the truth. But anyone that says that they ain't coming for our guns or they're not coming for the Second Amendment, they're just wrong. Because if you pass one gun control bill, you're against the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment doesn't say you have the right to own some guns or a few, or if you can't hit your deer with a shotgun, you're not a good enough shot. No, it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And if anyone would put one infringement on there, they're coming after the Second Amendment, which would also mean, tell me if you guys see where I'm coming from here. It must also mean they're against a free state because it says that it's necessary to the security of a free state. So just remember that. Anybody who would infringe, whether it's HR 127, whether it's HR 8, HR 125, there's so many, I can't even remember the names of them anymore. They're literally saying they want your freedom gone. They don't want security because the founding fathers, I think they were pretty smart. What do you guys think? They acknowledged in writing 240 years ago, they said a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, not optional, maybe kind of sort of, it might help a little bit. They didn't say that. They said it was an absolute necessity, literally. So just remember that, and that might give you guys something to think about. See, that's the part that's also often ignored. They say, well, reasonable this, reasonable that. Oh, really? You want to be reasonable with the security of a free state? You want to reason that away? Do you want to bargain that away too? Well, they must, because you can't just take the second half and not realize that they put the reason why right there, right before it. And often we just cite, shall not be infringed. And that's fine. I often cite that too. But don't forget the first part of the Second Amendment, because it really does explain why it's there and what it's for. VA Wolf, thanks for the super chat, man. He's a 223 guy. We've had 223 and we've had 556. But don't worry, I've got my AK here, 762 by 39. Thanks, VA Wolf. I appreciate it, man. We must abolish all infringements. There may be war. And we do. All infringements. That's the thing. There's no such thing as just like a little bit of one. No, that's what infringement means. If you move like one scintilla over, if you ban one thing, you've technically already infringed. So before we go any further, guys, I'm definitely fired up on this topic, and we're going to get back into it in 1 second. But there's a very special little girl. I told her within the first 5 minutes. I hope she was patient. It's been 10 minutes. She's my baby girl. I call her baby girl. So hi, baby girl. Now, she's not a baby anymore, but when she was really young, I used to read this to her. And I really like it. And I'm going to read it to her again. And maybe some of you guys remember this. And I hope you guys enjoy it too. We're going to mix it up on here. Not necessarily gun related, but I'm going to read you guys a quick story. It's called Mr. Brown Can Moo. Can you? From Dr. Seuss. And this is the board book. That's the exact same version that I read to my little girl. So let's check it out. This is good, by the way. This is good stuff. I really like this. Oh, the wonderful sounds Mr. Brown can do. He can sound like a cow. He can go moo, moo. He can sound like a bee. Mr. Brown can buzz. How about you? Can you go buzz, buzz? He can sound like a cork. Pop, 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 pop. He can sound like horse feet. Clop, clop, clop. He can sound like a rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. He can sound like an owl. Hoo, 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 hoo. Mr. Brown can do it. How about you? He can sound like the rain. Double, 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 dop. Double, 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 dop, dop, dop. He can sound like a clock. He can tick. He can talk. He can sound like a hand on a door. Knock, knock. Boom, 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 Mr. Brown is a wonder. Boom, 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 Mr. Brown makes thunder. He makes lightning, splat, splat, splat. And it's very, very hard to make a noise like that. Mr. Brown can whisper, whisper, very soft, very high. Like the soft, soft whisper of a butterfly. Maybe you can too. I think you ought to try. Oh, the wonderful sounds Mr. Brown can do. Why don't you try to do them too? Turn the page and let's review. Moo, moo, buzz, buzz, pop, pop, clop, cock-a-doodle-doo, hoo, hoo, dibble, dibble, dop, tick-tock, knock, knock, boom, boom, splat. Last, a whisper, whisper. And that is that. There you go. Good night, baby girl. I love you. I used to read this to her when she was little, and this is awesome. And by the way, I bought this brand new just the other day, just to read to you guys tonight. My daughter already has one of the same one. So if any of you have a little one at home that you think would enjoy this and you'd like to read this to them, hit me up in my email. It's glockshooter79@gmail.com, and I'll mail this to one of you guys. So any of you with a little kid at home that would want this, just send me a quick email, and I'll definitely send this to you, all right? Maybe your little kid will enjoy it. That's why I bought a new one, because it's an awesome little book for little kids. And big kids. I had a lot of fun reading it, too. I hope you guys enjoyed it. America the Free, 762. Thank you. The AK needed a little love, right? He said, thanks for the channel where we can vent our frustrations. No, man, we need to vent a little bit, you know? It's not all doom and gloom. Like, we're going to complain about stuff, but it's constructive. It's to motivate. It's for you guys to think of things when you're in conversations with your fellow friends. Maybe it's somebody out there that's been into guns a really long time, but they're just kind of tired. They're tired of it. Maybe they need a little encouragement, because we need everybody. We need to have everybody stay in the fight, because this is a good fight, and this is a just fight, and evil will and always has prevailed when good men do nothing. And we can't just sit there and do nothing. And I wish we could. And I wish we could touch guns in live streams, and I'd show you all these wonderful guns, but we can't touch guns in live streams anymore, because society's gotten to the point where it's okay now to ban certain parts of free speech on YouTube that has congressional approval and Section 230. I think you guys know what I'm talking about there, right? But if we just sit back and do nothing, it's obvious. You know, I don't even see any bills that are actually getting voted on next week in the House of Representatives. Do you guys that would be pro Second Amendment? I hate to even say this because it's just fundamentally wrong, but I use air quotes. Do you guys see any bills getting put forth in the United States Congress that are going to give us our rights back? Now, they can't give them back because they never gave them to us to begin with, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So, heck yeah, it's okay to vent. Now, do we want to sit there and mope around all week and be down in the dumps? No. But when I'm done complaining about this stuff, I'm like, all right, there's a lot to complain about. I'm pissed off. I know a lot of you guys are pissed too. And it's okay to be mad. It is. It is okay to be mad if you're fighting the just fight and you're one of the good guys. And there's all these other people who are low down and they want us to become a communist country. Yeah, get mad at them and then try to do something about it. So I'll get all mad and then I'll try to do something about it. Look, I don't know if I'm making a difference by myself. I don't see how any of us could by ourselves, but you can't just sit there and think, well, some other guy will do it or some other girl will do it, because literally, like, the person's you, right? You have unalienable rights that were endowed by your creator, and you are the only one that's actually going to be able to keep those. You'll have to decide what you want to comply with, what you're not going to comply with. You'll have to decide they're supposed to be public servants, these politicians that sit on Capitol Hill, that work for us, that our taxpayer dollars pay their salary. You'll have to decide if it's time for them to be fired, right? You know what? I think we have some opportunity coming up, guys. And that's why I wanted to talk about, like, the whole new gun owners thing. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, hold on a minute. 8 million new gun owners, they say, just in the last couple months. Some say 10, maybe even up to 20 million new gun owners in the past year. Okay. So does that necessarily mean that they're pro 2A? No, actually it doesn't. Just remember, the former vice president, he's a gun owner. He talks about how he's hunted for years. In fact, as I said last week, because it's true, his firearms collection's probably more valuable than yours is. I know it's more valuable than mine. So just new gun owners, that's not enough to say, okay, we're safe. They're not going to do anything else, right, to infringe on the Second Amendment because we have new gun owners. That's not enough. This is where we all have some work to do, though. But it does mean there's a chance, right? Do you guys remember that movie? So you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance. Because some of them are going to be so rabidly anti-gun, even though they own a gun. Yeah, this does actually happen, that you can't talk to them. That's fine. Once you realize that, just move on. It's not worth just sitting there wasting your time or fighting with people over stuff that isn't going to go anywhere, okay? But maybe there's someone that's like this. And I've met a lot more people in this category. They basically never even followed politics. They never even read the news before. Like, they didn't care. And that actually means they're probably a pretty smart person, because I do it to keep up with the channel and a lot of the local 2A stuff that I'm always fighting for. But geez, oh Pete, the smartest person ever probably doesn't read the news too much. Like, I get it. So I've met a lot of people like this where they're like, well, I was kind of anti-gun before just because I thought like that was the way to be, but I didn't really know why. And I'm like, well, don't you know this and this? And you just start talking to them just a little bit. And they'll tell you, well, no, I actually never watched the news before. I didn't even know Democrats were typically anti-gun. I'm like, wait a minute now. And I'm talking on the federal level. I know locally in your town, like in Monroe County, for example, pro 2A resolution, right? Sanctuary County resolution. It was voted on unanimously, including the Democrats in Monroe County. So federal level in Washington, D.C., it's pretty much gotten to the point, though, where 100% of the Democrats on party line, no matter what, every single time, vote anti-gun. You'd be surprised how many people, and maybe there's someone watching this stream tonight, probably not, but I bet you people that are watching, you know people like this, that literally think to themselves, they don't know where all this anti-gun agenda comes from. Like, Democrat, anti-gun? I didn't know that. True story. So I asked them further. I said, well, what do you mean? Where do you think it comes from then? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, why do you vote Democrat? Well, my dad was in the union, and the union votes Democrat, so I just grew up listening to my dad talk about being in the union, and he always voted Democrat, and that's why I voted Democrat. But I never wanted to ban anyone's guns, and I'm like, all right. Like, literally, that's where some people are starting from. So I said, okay, well, have you called your representative lately? Representative, what's that? See, I thought they were going to say, who's my representative? They didn't say that. They said, what's my representative? Like, I'm not even joking. They knew senator. So I said, senator? Oh, yeah, we have a senator in Michigan. I said, no, we actually have 2 senators in Michigan, right? What are their names? Of course, they didn't know, who Peters and Stabenow were. So think about that. Literally, I know I'm boring all you guys that already know this. That's not my point here. There's literally people out there that just bought their first gun. Some of them aren't voting at all, or they're voting some way just because they kind of sort of always did. And they have no idea if how many senators they have, if they even have one at all. They have no idea they have a representative in Congress that's representing them in DC. Now, if they don't know who they are or don't even know that they have one, they probably have no idea how they're voting on gun control laws, right? Right, Mark Corby? Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Susan just skipped it on here. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, I'm sorry, guys. So here's where the big distinction is. And this is where people always talk about like the gun community. And that's fine. I understand. Like if you like guns, that does make it part of a gun community. But guns are literally inanimate objects. They're neither good nor evil, right? They're not inherently anything. They're just made of metal, polymer, wood, etc. We can't really have a gun community, in my opinion, without having a Second Amendment community. Now, there's people that say you can. They're going to say, well, hold on a minute. You can just like guns and from my cold, dead hands, but still vote for every gun control law there is. Oh, you could do that, but it still makes you a hypocrite. Just calling a spade, right? Now, I don't think you should just walk up to someone, though, that bought their first gun and immediately say, now that whole you're a hypocrite, that's for the seasoned veteran that knows better. And you guys probably know who those are. But don't just walk up to someone that's brand new, that just bought their first gun, and the very first words out of your mouth are, you voted Democrat once in your life before. You now own your first gun. You're nothing but a darn tootin' hypocrite. Right? Because first of all, that's just mean, and we don't want to be mean. But it's also not really going to get you anywhere, because I'm learning, yes, there's the left that are just hell-bent, in my opinion, to make us a communist country and completely and utterly, fundamentally destroy all principles of what it means to be an American. And they know the Second Amendment's the only thing stopping them from evoking their tyranny. Yeah, there's portions of the left that are that way, no doubt. There's also people that truly get it, that read the Declaration constantly, and they love it probably just as much, if not more than I do. But there's also this huge number of people that I'm meeting more every day that are just like, Declaration what? Politics what? And they're not really like a Democrat or Republican. They just didn't care. See, they just woke up. They always had food on their table, right? And then they basically got their education and they got a scholarship, or their parents paid for them to go to college, or they got a job, or all these different ways people do. They got their degree, or they learned their trade, and then they made money, and then they bought their little house, 2-car garage. Then they bought a little bigger house with a 3-car garage. And so many people have just lived this American dream for so long, they really don't understand anymore. They never even cared to notice. Everything was just too good for them. And we have had a lot of good times in this country. People all want to sit there and say, America's a terrible place and it's always been terrible. No, America hasn't been always terrible. There's always been terrible things that have happened in America. And there's actually probably a record amount of terrible things happening in America right now. And their last names are Pelosi and Biden. So yeah. But no, it's actually been a pretty good country to live in for most of our lives. And it goes back to what I said earlier. Good times make weak men. People have just said, Congress, what's that? Like, who even cares? I've got my 9 to 5. I trade in my 2 years and my lease is over on my car. I get my new. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm not making fun of these people. I'm just talking about like a lot of just Mr. and Mrs. America, right? A lot of them are very fine people. So, yes, the Second Amendment's a very, very black and white issue. But a lot of these people are like, no, I'm just buying a gun right now because I don't trust the government, because there was riots in the streets. They watched their cities burn all spring into the summer. Some cities are still burning right now. Some seem like they're never going to stop letting them burn, from mostly peaceful protests, they call it, right? Pew, pew, fireworks going off. Oh, Doc, the gas station just went ablaze. Other than that, mostly peaceful protests. You guys saw the headlines, right? And man, I've seen so many people on the internet that are like, I lived in this town or right on the edge of town and went out and bought my first gun immediately when it erupted into riots and chaos. So basically all they know is this: they need a gun to protect themselves. Yep. I think it's very important, though, for us to just somehow convey, and I'm not going to tell you guys exact words to use. That's just kind of food for thought, because if it's your friend or your neighbor, your coworker, you're already friends with them, right? You know how to talk to them. So talk how you will, but I think it's important to remind them that, like, okay, hold on a minute. Yes, protecting your house and neighborhood, it's awesome. Great reason to buy a gun. But if we never had people that were there to uphold the Second Amendment and uphold our God-given rights for all these generations, right? Centuries, actually, now in this country, you wouldn't have been able to just go to the store and buy that gun like you did. Think about this. It's actually interesting with a new gun owner. You can literally go to them, right? And you can say, why were you able to just go buy a gun? I literally asked someone that, and they said, what do you mean, why was I able to? I don't know. I went to the store and did the background check, and I said, no, not how. Why were you able to? And they said, well, why wouldn't I be able to? And then I brought up a bunch of other countries where you can't just go buy a gun, okay? I don't know if they're watching right now, but I have some people that I love them to death. God bless them. They're going through a lot of heck down there. I have some really, really good South African viewers. These are good people. I was explained, right? I'll call him Jocko, okay? I don't want to give people's full names out. He goes by Jocko, right? He might be in the chat right now. He literally showed me a picture of a Taurus G3 that he was going to buy in South Africa. And then he talked about how he's waiting to get it. And then I think it was about 6 to 8 months later, he showed me a picture and said, my baby's finally arrived. I told this person about that. So you people from other countries that come in here and say, look, America, you better keep your Second Amendment. You better get your heads out of you-know-where, and you better stand up now, because if you guys lose it, we're done. There's no place on the earth to go once America's Second Amendment falls. And they're not joking with us, and I can prove they're not joking. So my South African friend, he finally, 8 months later, showed me the picture of the Taurus G3 that he was finally allowed to take possession of. Yeah. Now, I also talked to friends in Brazil where they make these fine weapons. And they're like, yeah, we make them in Brazil, but we can't even buy half of these different Taurus products that come out. And we have to go to a military base to buy them from. And yeah, our South African friend and our Brazilian friend weren't able to just run down to the gun store today because they thought the riot was moving into their neighborhood tomorrow. And I told my American friend that, and they said, you've got to be kidding me. What do you mean they can't just go buy a gun? So they literally weren't able to go buy a gun. Like, that's not how it works there. And they literally had no idea. And they said, well, why isn't the United States like that? I said, because people like me and millions of other people have been fighting our tails off and letting the government know, don't tread on us. And from today on end, I need you to become one of those. Now, you don't talk like that to everybody, but to this person, I felt that was appropriate. And they're like, what do we need to fight off? And I said, HR 127? What's that? Sent it to him via email. You know what I got back? Holy SH blank blank. They're like, they're literally trying to do all this? Like, that's insane. I couldn't afford $800. I said, yeah, if this passed, would have you been able to buy that gun recently? No, I don't have $800, they said. Yeah. These are awesome conversations to have, because so many new gun owners, they don't know why we still have a Second Amendment. They don't know that it's not like this everywhere else in the world. Some of them live in freer states, and they don't even know the oppression that you all are going through in some of the states in this country. How difficult it is to buy stuff in, New Jersey, Massachusetts, parts of New York, California, Maryland. I've been hearing a lot about, like, draconian laws where it's almost like living in another country. And if some people aren't even aware of that. So I think to let people know, a lot of people don't know how good they had it until they lost it. So I think that's something good to put into perspective. If there's a new gun owner listening right now, or certainly all you guys that have been into guns longer than me, remind your friends of this stuff. Say, we want to be Americans. We don't want to be like the rest of the world. We have friends that are in the rest of the world, very fine people in every country of the world. I guarantee it. Many of them are friends on here. But at the same time, no disrespect to the good people that live in these other countries. We don't want to be these other countries. We want to be Americans. And we want our Declaration of Independence. We want our whole entire Bill of Rights, not just some of it. And when you put it in perspective like that, you'll find out people do get a little bit interested in the topic. least that's what I found lately. It's a little bit encouraging, to be honest with you. Paz here with the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Says, hold on to that Dr. Seuss book. Going to be worth a lot. Maybe you can get a couple of loose rounds of ammo for it at today's price. Thanks for the loose rounds of ammo super chat, man. No, I want to give that to someone. If they don't, whatever. But seriously, my offer was legit. If anyone has a little boy or girl, we have another copy of this at my house. This is what my wife said. She said, why'd you buy one of these? We have it. I said, well, yeah, but I don't want to bring baby girl's book here. And I said, seriously, somebody's little kid will get a kick out of this book because it's like awesome. Who wouldn't love this? Now, you'll probably do a better job of reading it than I will, but America the Free. Thanks for the super chat, man. Yes, deprivation of rights under color of law, it's called. He says, Section 242 of Title 18 USC makes it a crime for a person acting under color of law or any law to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege. I know, and it depends on what damages the person gets from that. It could actually be punishable by death. Go read it. There's literally different laws, punishments associated with Section 242, Title 18. And that's really what it comes down to, guys. Look, this is written in the law, in the legislation. It says Section 242, Title 18. And I'm glad you reminded me of that. Thanks, Jack Perkins, for becoming a new YouTube member. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And thank you all of you that already are members, whatever. Look, I don't have time to name all of you right now, but I know who all of you are, and I love all of you. Trust me. Thank you. So this is a perfect example. Section 242, 18 USC. It's written. It already says that if they were deprived of us of any of our rights under color of law, that they could be, I think it starts off with the low end, imprisoned by maybe up to 5 years, right? And it keeps going where if they actually cause death by them depriving you of your rights, the punishment to them is death. Now, that's written in 18 USC, Section 242. Okay. The Second Amendment's also written, right? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's written down too. It's written down on a piece of parchment paper with a quill pen, eloquently beautiful. It's all beautiful. The way they wrote it, it's so simple for a reason. Like, it's so simple. It's actually one of the most genius things ever. There's actually no way for any government to ever hack it or crack it, except for this. Section 242 of 18 USC and the Second Amendment and this Declaration of Independence. They're actually just words at the end of the day, aren't they? If there's not you and all your friends and then collectively millions of patriots there every day. I know it sucks, but every day fighting to preserve that. Because I'll tell you what, there sure as heck are people in the United States Congress, maybe in your local city council, maybe in your state. Who knows where they're at? They're everywhere. They're fighting to try to destroy it. And it's pretty easy to destroy a piece of paper, isn't it? You could burn it. You could trample it. You could shred it, couldn't you? You could throw it in the ocean. Or you could actually still keep it held underneath like 3 foot of UV protected and bulletproof glass guarded. And you could keep it guarded just like that. And that's how our founding documents are guarded. And just completely ignore it too, couldn't you? So yeah, it's all there. They set up the framework for us. That's all this was. This was an experiment on self-governance. This is a grand experiment. The founding fathers were smart enough to set up the framework, right? Now, they never guaranteed us anything, did they? Remember the founding fathers? Remember, there's tons of great quotes, but one that I like to say often, and I'll say it again. Ben Franklin was asked, right at the steps of the very first session of Congress, the founding of our country. He was asked by a lady, what have we, a monarch or a republic? And he said, a republic, if you can keep it. And that's pretty profound if you think about it. He didn't say, we have a republic no matter what, because I, Benjamin Franklin, professed. He didn't say, we have a republic because we wrote it down, did he? He didn't say, we're going to write it down. Think about this, guys. He didn't say, we're going to write it down in the Declaration of Independence. All right. Then some 15 years later, we'll write it down again in 1791 in the Bill of Rights. And then if we need to, we'll write it down again and we'll call it Section 242 of 18 USC. No, Benjamin Franklin actually didn't say that at all. He said, if you can keep it. And that pretty much says all of it there. The government is supposed to be instituted among men. And if these people that are representing us, that are our public servants, if they're going against the will of the people, then it's time to say you're fired and get out. And that's actually going to lead into my Michigan story in just a couple minutes here, because there's some stuff going on in Michigan where there's some people that we really need to support and get behind. And a lot of you don't live in Michigan. Now, shout out to all my Michigan people. Look, I like all of you a lot. Like I said, shout out to my South African friends, Brazilian friends. Special shout out, though, to the Michigan people, no matter what, right? All right. But what I'm going to talk about a few minutes in Michigan, this isn't just for Michigan. This is actually indicative of what's either already going on in your state or maybe what you should be encouraging your state legislators to put forth in all of your states, because there's a resolution. Is it perfect? Is it exactly how I've written it? Maybe, maybe not, but it's pretty darn good. And then we watch how the left, the Democrats that are in Michigan, responded to this. So I think you guys could look at this, and hopefully it's food for thought for your state. But we'll get to that in just 1 second here. Jack Perkins with a super chat. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, man. He says, I just bought a SARS Lamaze SAR 9, and I'm curious to see what people think of it. And I agree with everything you're saying about our rights. I have all kinds of guns. Awesome, man. Awesome. You know what? I love to hear that. I have all kinds of guns, because that's just cool, right? And agrees with everything about our rights. Not that you're agreeing with me, but that you're just agreeing with our core fundamental rights. That's awesome, man. You know what? I don't have the SARS Lamaze SAR 9 specifically, but I can tell you this. It comes highly recommended from people that I definitely trust. I don't know if he's watching now or maybe he will later, but I know my friend Radom guy, very respected guy. He has one. He totally loves it. And you're probably going to see people right now that know a ton about guns talking about it. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can tell you without me even owning one, Jack, that it's a very well-liked gun. Some people I really trust like it a lot. And I would like to get one. Just too many guns, not enough money, but hey, you just helped me get closer. Maybe I will review one of those eventually. People have been asking me about it. Look, guys, they don't send me guns. Like, I literally buy them, sponsored by all of you guys. Like, we'll chip in. Super chats here and there. We've got, some Patreon, now some memberships. I'll put it together. Maybe it's ammo, maybe it's a gun, but that's literally how it works. Nobody here sending me guns. But I definitely would like to get I'd like to try out a SAR 9. I've been hearing a lot about it. Here's a guy right here you can definitely trust. Marksman TV definitely knows his stuff. He would know, so there you go. Sounds like you're in pretty good company with that, aren't you, man? And real quick here, with Marksman TV, I put up a community post, okay? I think you guys can get to it easier on your phone. If you're on your computer, like when the stream's over, go to my community tab. I put Marksman TV's video in there talking about a new service he has, a new website he has. I'm not going to talk about it too much just because of, hey, Susan Wiki, but it's pretty cool. It's actually a really good service, and I think it could help some of you out right now. Maybe some of you that need some extra money. Just go watch his video. If you want to know how to get to it, it's real easy. Go to the 2AEDU community post. I put his video right there. And I'm not just recommending this because he's a friend of mine. It's actually a service that I literally think could help some of you guys right now that he's offering. So there you go. Oh, no problem, Marksman TV. No, I just put it up there. Like I said, me and you are buds. That's cool and all, but I put it up there just because I thought it would help my viewers. And I know that's why you're doing that new website that you're doing and why you're offering that service. And it is a service, guys, by the way. You can either just go to the website. I don't want to say too much about it because Susan's just like, whatever, right? Right, Susan Wiki. No, it's actually pretty much something cool. All right, so what do you guys think real quick here, just to wrap up this portion? I'm just thinking about it. This whole new gun owners thing, I've gone back and forth several times. I have. And I'll be honest with you guys. Let me finish my sentence because I'm just a human and I'm being open. I'm like, man, screw these guys. They just got into guns just now. Why do they? It flashed in my head just for 2 seconds. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Get over it. The Second Amendment's there for everybody, no matter what. You don't have to exercise it. Someone right now, and this sucks so bad, I can't even stand it. Now, look, they should probably be in prison under Section 242.18 USC, which would be a totally different story then. But, I guess Pelosi and AOC and all of them, until someone has the courage to lock them up, I guess they have just as much advantage of the Second Amendment as all of us do. And it sucks, and you really have to grimace when you think that. But, yeah. See, we can't just pick just people that we like to be able to enjoy these rights that were given by our Creator. Yeah, people have the right to say things we don't like. Yeah. Someone that's sitting there advocating to confiscate and destroy and outlaw every gun, they do actually still have the right to keep and bear. Okay, so with that said, most of these new gun owners, and I'm realizing this more and more, most of these new gun owners, they're not Pelosi, they're not AOC. They're just people for the most part, many of them. And if there's new gun owners, please chime in. I may not be able to read it in real time just because there's so much chat. There's just so many more of you than me. But I promise you, last weekend, by the way, thanks for the excellent chat, guys. Excellent. I went through there and read the chat through the next day, part of it the day after. And by the weekend, I had read the whole chat. I'm like, man, look at all the nice things these people say. So, and the mean things, but I don't really care about you people that are mean. But lots of nice people. So leave me comments, let me know. But I think this is what I'm realizing. Some new gun owners are going to fall right off and go right back to maybe they were anti-gun before, maybe they will be again. That's true. But I think there's a lot of new gun owners that just weren't political at all. They just didn't care. Not because they weren't patriotic, not because they didn't love their country. I don't mean like that. They just didn't care about guns, right? Like they love their country for many other reasons. They're just like, whatever, guns don't interest me. It's just not on my radar. Some people I've talked to lately have said, hey, it's actually just they had better things to spend their money on. Somebody told me of all things, they said, I was such a fisherman. I just could never justify spending that $300, $400, $500 on a gun because that would be a nice reel. And then by the time I bought, a case of ammo, that would be a nice rod. And I'm like, so that's the only reason you never bought a gun for all these years? And they're like, yeah, I just had another hobby that I wanted to spend my money on instead. Now, do I wish that person would have been in the fight a lot longer? Do I hope that person becomes a true defender of the Second Amendment now? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. But we need to be careful for two reasons. First of all, let's go two opposite extremes. Don't waste your time. If your neighbor or friend is literally the equivalency of AOC, literally, they're hell-bent just to literally destroy America, just don't waste your time with them. They're not even worth it. Just move on. Now let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. Don't just walk up to somebody that and you're talking about guns a little bit. Don't just assume that they're AOC either. And don't just immediately get in their crap and be like, you suck. And I'm glad you can't get ammo because you don't deserve to get ammo because you didn't buy it as long as I did. And you weren't as smart as me. Like, you can sit and chuckle to yourself. I get it. If you were into guns years ago, you got your ammo a lot cheaper. That's true. But no reason to get so confrontational with that new gun owner because they might not be, and they're actually probably not like an AOC or Pelosi type at all. They just probably never really thought about it that much. And that's okay. That's okay because I'm learning new stuff all the time in my life that I never really thought about before. And I'm like, wow, how did I even get by in life without knowing this or that? And sometimes they're just the simplest thing. I mean, how did I read books to my daughter that I thought were fine books and I still do? And now I'm like, well, I don't think this particular one they're banning, but they're banning these books. And sometimes you're just like, well, what the heck? I never even thought, or I didn't even know. So I think that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. And this is where I think we need to do it, where we're actually talking to people we know. And this is where you guys will use your best judgment and your relationships you've already built with these people, right? Like, the person that you can kind of lay it hard and heavy on right away. And then the person that you kind of have to take a little bit of time with. And I really think that's important, though, because we can't just sit there and do this. This is what I'm basically hearing from a lot of people in the YouTube gun community. They're either saying, screw all these new gun owners. We need to reject them and throw them away. Because if they weren't with us then, they sure as heck ain't going to be with us now. I think that's dangerous just to pigeonhole every new gun owner into that. If they're the Joe Biden type gun owner where he's like, I'm a proud owner of a shotgun and I'm going to take your AR-15. Well, yeah, we need to reject them, move on. They ain't even worth our breath, we're speaking. However, there's people out there that actually they're not dumb. They just chose to prioritize their brain on other things in their life. And that there's people literally that I'm meeting every day. You can call it swallowing the red pill. You can call it whatever you want. Sometimes it's nothing to do with politics. But there are people that are like, holy crap. I couldn't have imagined not being able to run out and buy a gun like I did. And I couldn't imagine them taking it away now. Well, maybe those people would actually enjoy some really good conversations about what Benjamin Franklin said and George Washington said and Thomas Jefferson said. And like I said, a lot of these are really smart people, aren't they? Or you wouldn't be friends with them, and you keep talking a little further and it might be a month or two down the road and they might have a good time talking about the Tree of Liberty quote and the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote. You never know. They might not ever get to that point, but they still might be willing to really fight for the Second Amendment too. I don't know. I don't care. You guys can get mad at me for saying this. Like I said, there's this really polarized division, but I'm like, if they're AOC type, Pelosi type, the former vice president type, screw them, move on. Don't have time for them. But there's many fine people and smart people in between that we should probably talk to, okay? Now, there's another school of thought in the gun community I've been reading a lot too. And they're saying, hey, we already won. No need to write your congressman. They've even come on here and said, you're fear-mongering. Oh, really? Okay, well, then whatever. If you're scared of me, then I don't know. I got a little girl at home. She doesn't seem too afraid. But she doesn't get in trouble either. Then she should be. Anyways, if she's still watching, then she should be afraid. But they'll say, hold on a minute, dude. There's no reason to even talk about HR 127. It can't pass, they'll tell me. I'm like, oh, well, riddle me this. Why not? Because we've had 8 million new gun owners in the last month, and because of that reason alone, it can't pass. No, I think that's just as dangerous as saying screw all the new gun owners. Look, guys, it's not. Why can't anybody actually just think about the whole picture? And that's why I want to talk about it. I don't mean anybody. I'm not the only one talking like this, but this is what I want to talk about. So hold on a minute. You've got this huge group of people. I don't want to say half, but let's just say the ones that yell the loudest are the ones you hear about. They're saying, screw all the new gun owners, pee on them, whatever. Okay, and then there's the other ones that say, because we have so many new gun owners, we don't even need to talk about whether it's HR 127, ammo shortage, all these different, realities that are really going on right now. And I'm like, man, I think both people couldn't be more wrong. Because how are these 8 million new gun owners just in and of themselves going to help us hold our reps accountable? Or in this case, the Senate probably is who we're going to have to really hold accountable to stop HR 127 when a lot of new gun owners don't even know they have a United States representative. Or if they do, they don't even care to know who they are. So just having new gun owners doesn't make it where the Second Amendment's just saved. Like, are you kidding me? 43% of all households already have firearms in them right now. Okay? There's more guns than people in this country. So there's probably over 400 million guns in this country, and there's over 100 million gun owners. So if just having a bunch of gun owners and a bunch of guns in this country was enough to stop them from trying to, infringe, then I don't really see where the 8 million would come into play. That's interesting. But they come in there and they say, hold on a minute, though. Ain't no way HR 127 will pass because these 8 million gun owners will stop it. They will? Have you been talking to your new gun owner friends? I've asked them and let them know about HR 127. Nah, I don't talk about that kind of crap. I'm like, well, then how's your new gun owner friend going to stop it when they might not even know about it? Because everyone's not political. And like I've said earlier, the ones that aren't political are probably the smart ones up and until they saw that there were fires in the streets by their house. And then they're like, well, hold on a minute. Hold on. I can't really ignore it anymore. I need something to protect myself, right? Or maybe they saw somebody that doesn't even know their own name running their country, doesn't know where they are, hasn't held a press conference, used to hold the office of vice president, and they said, holy crap, this is getting a little weird now. Maybe I need a gun to protect myself from my government. These are all reasons why we have so many new gun owners. But just having gun owners, that's never been enough. Heck, how many gun owners did we have in 1934 when the NFA passed? How many gun owners did we have in 68 when the GCA passed? How did the Hughes Amendment get through? The poison pill to the Firearms Owners Protection Act of 86. How many gun owners were there in 86? What about in 94 with the Clinton crime bill with the assault weapons ban that lasted 10 years? There were plenty of guns in this country and plenty of gun owners then. So yeah, there's tons of new gun owners. We don't need to just kick them to the curb because a lot of them, again, are very fine people and they're really nice people. And a lot of them do want to be on our side. They just need a little help, okay? They're new. We all needed help when we were new to anything you can think of, didn't we? Even if it wasn't guns. Someone had to teach us how to drive, right? To swim. Yeah, to ride a bike. You know, you learn these things. You can learn it on your own or maybe somebody helped you. So they need to learn. But we can't just say because there's so many new gun owners out there right now that we can all just sit there and sit on our hands and do nothing. I think it's kind of ironic that with all these new gun owners, they're pouring more anti-gun legislation into the House of Representatives right now than they ever have before. So, yeah. Hopefully that encourages you guys, though, to have these conversations. Start thinking about it. I think you'll find that there's some pieces of crap, move on from them, like I said earlier. And there's some very fine people that would like to learn more and talk. I really think so. Alvin Flubman with the super chat. Thanks, man. 545. So now we got an AK-74 guy. Man, I wish it wasn't. I wish Susan Wiki. Here's the problem I have, guys. Susan Wiki. She's a big fan of the channel, so she watches the streams. If she didn't watch, I'd love to go grab an AK-74, but I can't because she loves me enough to watch the stream, but then she doesn't love me too much because then she would ban the stream and kick it off. But man, AK-74, 545. Awesome guns. He says, I wrote my state senators last night concerning H.R. 8 and H.R. 1446. I implore all of you watching to do the same thing. Also give 2AEDU. See, I can't even say my own name. I didn't mess yours up, though, Evan. So I like Evan more than myself. He says, give me a thumbs up at least. So there you guys go. It helps. It helps the algorithm. And you know, a lot of times, here's another way to look at the thumbs up. Some of you said, well, hold on a minute. I voted for this one for president. Didn't like either, but I basically voted against the other one, right? If you give me a thumbs up, that's a vote against Susan Wiki. So there you go. She likes me, but she doesn't like it when I get too many thumbs ups. Just to let you guys know that, right? Thank you, Evan. I appreciate it, man. Looks like I see some people talking about owning the Taurus G3. You know I'm going to have no arguments with that whatsoever, right? Taurus G3, that's a good one. G3C, G2C. Geez, oh, Pete. I mean, really all of them. The TH9C, the Spectrum. A lot of you keep telling me about your Taurus 92s, right? Those are pretty cool. She skipped my chat, guys, and made me do like a lapse. If I missed somebody's chat, I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't. I thought I saw one, but it's like I said, Susan Wiki's watching the stream. I invoke her name and I asked for thumbs up, and she kind of came in here and said, "Voop," and moved the whole chat down quite a bit. Yeah, some people wonder. I guess I'll just say this because there's always new people tuning into the channel. It is against YouTube's policy to handle or touch guns and live streams. Before you guys say anything, I know you're going to say my favorite channel does it. I've seen channels do it too. I'm not going to rat them out. I think it's awesome. They're getting by with it. The difference between me and them is this. If I were to touch one, I know they bust me instantly because they're probably like, you know, Susan doesn't like them as much as me. So, yeah. I can't help it. Susan has the hots for me, guys. She watches every minute of every stream. So if I were to go in there and even dare think about touching a gun, probably not too good. But yeah, against the rules for me to touch on here. Because there's always a new person that's like, man, you know, why won't you go show your AK-74? Because you guys that have been around a while, you know I used to do that back in the day. I literally would. Literally, you guys would come in there and say, hey, do you have an AK-74? And if I had one here, if not, I'd say, hold on next week. I'll bring it in. And I'd go in the back room and get it and, you know, hold it out there. Mark Corby, thanks for another super chat, man. He said, welcome new gun owners and take someone to the range and convert someone. Politicians couldn't find water if they fell out of a boat. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you guys will know what's right, you know. Take them to the range, right, Mark? Awesome idea. If it's time to talk a little politics and get them on board with maybe helping to defeat HR 127, that's important. It is. If you know it's not quite the time yet, you'll have to use your own deference on that. You just have to. A lot of these are like, yeah, you can kind of lump humans into like this big herd. We are herd animals in a way. We're very tribal too. And you could break us up into two big tribes if you wanted to, and that wouldn't really be incorrect. But really, it comes down to everything, right? Where everyone's got their own little nuances. Everyone's just their own individual person. And that's why, like, I can't sit there and appeal to, 1,000 people all at once. But maybe, though, if there's like 100 of you watching and you each pick like 2 or 3 people you know best, we could probably get there pretty quickly then, right? Because I don't know all the people you know. And if I did meet them, if Mark Corby said, hold on a minute, 2AEDU, here's my new gun friend that's kind of on the fence. They might want HR 127, they might not. I might be the best person to talk to them, and maybe Mark would recommend them to watch my stream. But actually, Mark might be like, you know what? I think they'll like 2AEDU maybe a little later, but I don't want them to watch it this week, and then maybe Mark would know how to talk to him first. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone has their own different way. So that's kind of what I think about that topic. We can't just give them all a free pass. We can't say just because they own a gun that they're 100% pro-Second Amendment. It's just not true in all cases. We also can't say they're all low-life scoundrel, POS, pieces of crap, because that's actually not true either, right? I think if I sat there and weighed both of them, I think they're both equally flawed statements, no matter what end of the spectrum you're on. So I think we have a chance. We have a chance, and what's going to determine that more than, like he said, these politicians that couldn't find water if they fell out of a boat, it's actually going to be up to us whether we can do something about this. Because really, we just need to get them all to go crawl back in their little lair, their den, or wherever they hide out and they peek out, because some of these people are real lowlifes in Washington, D.C. It's true. It's true. Yeah, send them back in their little lair, send them back in their den, and then maybe we can get back to just going out and shooting our guns and shooting the bull with our friends and having a good time. But I'll tell you what, until we can get some of this stuff straightened out, I don't know. I don't see ammo coming back down to $10, $12 a box for 9mm anytime real soon. Do you guys? I did notice that some of the companies are getting large amounts back in stock again, online especially lately. That's true. But it's like $40 a box for 9mm 115 grain FMJ, like basic plinking ammo. Hey, it's better than nothing. If you're new and you're watching, or you know someone that's new, I'm going to say it again. You have to have some. You have to do it. If you bought a gun and you have literally no ammo, you have zero ammo, you have to buy a couple boxes. I used to say for a new gun, you buy a new gun that you're going to use for home defense or concealed carry. Let's just say it's a pistol right now. I used to say probably 500 rounds, down the barrel before I would trust it to carry it. And I would want like at least 400 of those to be FMJ. And then I would want at least 100 of my carry ammo. And I still don't take that back. I think that's very fine advice. And if you have that much ammo already, I would still do that if you could. Here's the reality, though. You're new to guns. You don't have a lot of money. You saved up just to buy the gun. Don't sit there and leave that darn thing in your dresser until you can save up for 500 rounds. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And some people might have valid arguments against what I'm about to say, but hey, again, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So here's what I'll say for myself. And this is just entertainment. I don't give legal advice on here, whatever, right? This is just free entertainment. But here's what I would do. If I had a new Taurus G3C, okay, and I could only save up $40 to buy one box of 9mm ammo, FMJ, I would go out and shoot that box. And if the gun functioned flawlessly on it, I'd try to buy a second box and load up the mag and, carry it. Now, I've literally had people tell me this, and part of it's like, oh, come on, man, but no, I believe them. Why would I call a stranger a liar? I don't know. I think some people tell me the truth. They say no, like they literally only had enough to buy one box. That's it. Okay, fine. Your G3C holds 12 rounds plus one. Nah, I'm too new. I can't chamber, they said. All right, whatever. I always carry my concealed carry handguns chamber, but all right. Shoot 38 rounds out of that box at the range. If the gun's flawless, then put the 12 in the magazine. Carry it. State laws apply, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you have a CPL. Maybe you don't. I could care less on that. I'm not your lawyer or any lawyer, but yeah. Do you guys blame me for giving that advice? No. My real advice is no. You need to go out there. You need to probably at least put a box or two of Full Metal Jacket. This is me like kind of compromising for the current ammo prices. Then go out and buy some actual defensive ammo. There's very, very rare instances where you could say FMJ is going to do a better job than defensive ammo, personal protection ammo. 99% of the time, no, it's not. It's not. It's going to poke a little teeny hole. And we're not just trying to wound people. We're trying to stop threats, aren't we? And who cares if both of you bleed out after 30 minutes on the ground? Because there's lots of stories about that. They both exchanged fire with their 22 long rifle or their FMJ, and they were both found dead equally, bled out 30 minutes later when the cops arrived. Look it up, guys. There's lots of stories like that. If you can do it, look, this is going to kind of sound like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm really not, though. Try your hardest to carry defensive ammo in your handgun. Literally, it's not the same as FMJ. It's just not. There might be a little bit of an argument to make in the wintertime if you live in a cold climate and it's 380. Okay, maybe. Maybe then. In the summertime, I'd kind of say probably not then either. Get some defensive ammo if you can. But I'm going to flip right around, and there's no snobbery here. If you literally can only afford FMJ, that's like it. Like, that's literally all you can afford. And now you're going to leave your handgun in your safe or in your dresser drawer because 2A EDU said you have to use defensive ammo. Okay, no. If you literally only have FMJ, that's all you have. That's all you can get. Between your rent and your groceries and the stuff your kids needs, there is not that extra $40, $50 left no matter what. I get it. I've often been poor in my life like that. Load up the FMJ, carry it, because it's still a lot better than a sharp stick in the eye. So there you go. I hear so many people saying, just carry FMJ. It's the same exact thing as defensive ammo. There's no difference. Just carry them equally. Hey, everyone has their own opinion. I reject that. That's absolutely not true. It's fake news to say there's no difference between FMJ and high-quality defensive ammo. However, let's move back over to the other side you hear about a lot on here, where people say, you have to have, and they'll pick their brand, Federal, HST, Spear, Gold Dot, whatever it is their flavor, right? You have to have that only, and you're a dead man if you carry anything other than that. There are people that will literally tell you if you can't carry this specific type of, defense ammo, usually that they prefer, just leave the gun at home. Leave it unloaded. I actually reject that just as much too, and I think that's also fake news. So here's the moral of the story. Break in the gun the best you can with the magazine you're going to use. Don't take it for granted that if your gun came with 2 magazines, just because one of them works perfect, don't take it for granted the other one does, because I've seen it where one mag that comes with a gun's good, the other's a lemon. So always remember that. Get some rounds, as many as you can through it. Practice when you're not under stress to make sure the firearm is going to work. Try to prioritize and save up as much as you can to buy a high-quality, defense-oriented, personal protection-oriented ammo. I'm not mentioning brands, as little as possible for a reason, guys. We could do another video on that. And I've done videos of different rounds I like. Quality defensive ammo does serve its purpose. But don't let a snob keep you from carrying if all you've got is FMJ. There you go. The Reptile guys, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. He says, what I prefer to do so I don't waste much ammo is he manipulates the slide a couple hundred times and then take, a box out or two and fire it. And you can do a lot of that. I've actually showed you guys. I've done it with a lot of the Taurus videos, right? It seems like a lot of newer gun owners have kind of gravitated towards the Tauruses. I told you, a lot of new gun owners are smart, guys. It's a pretty smart choice in most cases. At least, hey, I'm really happy with the Taurus pistols I've bought. And I've talked about the same thing, Reptile guys. So thanks, man, for reminding us of that. A lot of the breaking can be done with dry slide manipulations, dry firing practice. There's lots of things you can do to help break that gun in. Tons of things. Still need to shoot it a little bit, though, because you're not just breaking the gun in, you're breaking yourself in, right? Especially if you're new. But there's a lot of people that are thinking, well, I'm not a new gun owner, new handgun owner. Same thing, though. Same thing. I've known people that were expert marksmen with 12-gauge slug, 30-6 trophies in their house with the trophy mounts, heads of animals they've killed. Proves they were a good shot, right? They take a pistol out for the first time. It takes a minute, doesn't it? And some of you might be kind of chuckling, thinking, yeah, he's actually right. It takes a minute to get the hang of it. So, yeah, you're doing yourself a favor to get out to the range as much as you can, of course. Are you going to be better off to defend yourself if you shot 1,000 rounds than 100? Well, duh. But a lot of people don't have that much money. So don't listen to the snobs. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Trust your instincts. That's something else I would tell new people. And, of course, when I'm telling new people, I'm reminding all you veterans of stuff you can tell your friends. You know, just like I was saying earlier with the gun right stuff. You know, I don't know. People, it's kind of a personal judgment. And that is what it means to be an American. There's some people that are like, no, I got this. There's other people that are like, you know what? I do need to put it in the dresser drawer so I can save up, buy some more ammo, get some more training. Don't rip on those people. They're actually probably being really smart. Everyone's not the same. Everyone's bodies aren't the same. Everyone's brain's not the same. Some people know, and they'll tell you if you actually listen to them. So don't pressure them. Don't punk them out. You know, someone might say, hey, look, I had fun today. I'm not ready. We need to do this a couple more times. I'm just not ready yet. And if they're looking you in the eye and they're being serious, say, hey, you're not ready. That's awesome. Let's save up some more money for ammo and go at it again. And I think it just takes some people a little bit longer. Doesn't mean they're weak. It doesn't mean they're a wuss. It just means they're being honest with you and saying they're not quite ready yet. And that's cool. I totally get that. But for those of you that are ready and all you can afford is just FMJ, load it up. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye. Mark Corby, thanks again, man. He says, once you get someone to shoot and they like it, in my experience, a light bulb goes on and they get it. You've got a 2-way advocate. You know what, dude? I've noticed that so many times. It usually doesn't take like a ton, does it? And some people do, don't they, Mark? They sit back and they say, well, I'm not quite ready yet. You know, I've got the gist of it, but some people are intimidated by loud noises. Some people have a little bit smaller frame, and you might sit there and say, well, it's only a 9mm plus, Pete. Well, there's people out there, okay? And they're good people, and they might be way better at something than you, right? Where it actually does hurt their hands if they shoot 9mm. Hey, it is what it is. You could go bowling with that person tomorrow, and they're bowling like 290, and you're bowling like a 137. So, yeah, doesn't mean you're better at them. It just means they're not very good at shooting guns yet, right? I've met a lot of people like that. So, heck yeah, and you guys are probably giving people good advice right now. I'm going to talk about this resolution that the Michigan Senate passed. But before I do, hold on a minute. As Ben Shapiro would say, but before I do, the sponsor of the channel is, well, actually, I don't have any sponsors, but if you guys want to help out the channel, the links are down in the description. Seriously, the Amazon link costs you absolutely nothing. Thumbs ups are free. Comments are free. They help the algorithm. And, of course, I have my Patreon and memberships, and I appreciate all the super chats. So thanks, guys. Check this out. Now, she didn't give it to me, but my wife, I guess, loaned it to me, if you will. Look at this. The Elvis Mr. Potato Head Special Edition. Isn't that pretty cool looking? Mr. Potato Head. Ages 2+. Now, the left doesn't think that we're old enough to have these, but hey, they were made for 2-year-olds. What do you guys think? Any Elvis fans out there? Hey, he's not like my all-time favorite, but I'll be straight up with you guys. I'm an Elvis fan. Elvis is awesome. I still like going on YouTube once in a while and watching some of Elvis's older concerts on there. And yeah, I'm a fan, dude. I think Elvis rocks. So I'll show this to you guys real quick for any Mr. Potato Head fans out there. 68 Special Elvis. Elvis carried a gun in the White House. I believe Richard Nixon was president. You guys ever hear that story? Elvis walked right into the White House to see the president and had his gun on him. It says, Mr. Potato Head plays tribute to Elvis Presley with a 68 special edition. Dressed in the iconic leather suit, Mr. Potato Head emulates Elvis's charisma and charm that captivated television audiences everywhere. So there you go. Hopefully Susan WikiWiki likes this. I know if we were on Amazon or eBay, they'd get rid of us. But what about you, Susan? Do you still like these on here? Mr. Potato Head. Elvis special edition. That's cool. And of course, Lami's standing guard of not only the stream, but Mr. Potato Head and Aunt Jemima, because we still like her too, don't we? Yeah, oh yeah. It has its sideburns going. Oh yeah, the Mr. Potato Head. We'll bring him out in a minute. I saw someone ask if he's got sideburns. I mean, well, of course he does, right? Jack Perkins with a super chat. Thanks, man. He says, I can only find defensive ammo. If I buy a brand new gun, and they will only sell one 25-round box with a new gun. And he's in Amelia, Ohio. All right, well, I'm in Michigan. It's tough. Okay, so that's the opposite. There you go. That shows you what the mess we're in right now. He can only buy defensive ammo, which costs a crap load. If you have money to buy the defensive ammo, it's fine to practice that too. I mean, let's just say they cost equal amounts of money. I know they don't. And you're like, well, would I only practice with FMJ or only practice with, in this case, Federal HST? Well, practice with what you're going to carry. If you're going to run on this and this is what you're carrying, you're fine. 25 rounds, though. I don't know if this is the exact scenario with you, Jack, and for all of you listening, but man, that's tough. If you only had 25 rounds, and I'm going to pick a gun with a really small capacity, G2C, 12 rounds. Jeez, oh, Pete. So that would mean you'd have to go out there and practice with shooting 12 rounds through your brand new gun. And assuming it fed all 12 rounds flawlessly, now you're going to load up 12 plus 1. So the other 13, I don't know. I guess at a certain point, what it really, really comes down to is, I don't know. It does start to get to the point where I can tell you guys, hey, man, if you can just get 50 rounds through it, something, anything, I'm now, would think I'd be a little more comfortable. But, man, you keep setting the threshold lower and lower. It gets to where it really is like racking my brain right now. Look, there'd be an argument that could go both ways. So chime in, people in the chat. And I'm not saying that this is his only he has, but this is for anybody out there. If you only had 25 rounds and it was defensive ammo, and you shot one magazine full through your new carry, assuming it was a little compact, one magazine through and it fed flawlessly. Hold on. I'm not asking you if you would totally trust the gun yet, because of course you wouldn't. That's not enough rounds to totally trust it. But what would you do? Would you shoot the other 12, 13 rounds out of it and then put it away empty in the dresser drawer of the safe? Or would you shoot literally 12 rounds through your new handgun? It's brand new. You've never shot it. Would you fire 12 rounds through it and then just shove the other 13 in there and start carrying? I don't know. I guess it's not enough for me to trust it, like I just said. I'm being truthful, but at the same time, I guess I'd rather have a gun that will probably go off, and it might jam, but it probably won't. Would be better than leaving it in the dresser drawer, I suppose. But there's actually a counter argument to that, because some people say, hold on a minute. Once you pull a gun out, now your opponent, your attacker, the perpetrator, the person that's trying to do, state laws vary, whatever it is in your state, where you can have what's called justifiable force, right? They call it justifiable homicide, where you didn't kill someone, you actually just stopped the threat and defended your life, okay? That's how I like to look at it. You pull that firearm and you present it. That person now knows you have a firearm no matter what. And if there was ever any chance that they were just going to take your money and they didn't want to actually kill you, they just wanted to do something else that's horrible but not as bad as killing you, whatever that would be. You guys know what I'm saying, right? They might take it a little easier on you if you don't pull a gun on them. But when you pull that gun on, you better be ready, because they're going to come at you with all they've got. They're going to literally have their full adrenaline, and they're going to claw your eyes out if they're unarmed. They're going to pull their gun instantly if they have one, their knife, their whatever they've got. Where maybe before it was just kind of a business transaction for them. So it is a tough choice. It is a tough choice. It's not just as black and white to say, well, hey, I never shot the gun. I have no idea if it'll run or not. I'm just going to load up the mag and run around carrying it. I just tried to present the two arguments to you guys. You ultimately have to decide for yourself. But I think that's where the two arguments lie, right? The one guy's going to say, hey, I'd rather have a gun that might probably most likely will go off. It's better than nothing. And then other people are like, hold on, just stop right there. As soon as you present that thing, that person's going to come at you with every bit of rage, instinct, firearms, wit, whatever they've got that they're using against you. They're going to give you all of it. Nobody cuts anybody any slack when they're pointing a gun at them, right? So, yeah, it's not a straightforward answer. It's really not. I know I just spent 5 minutes giving you guys a nothing answer, but I think that is the correct answer. There's some pretty big pros and cons to both ways of looking at that. But if we can compromise a little further and you can get 50 or even 100 rounds down the pipe of the FMJ, shoot a magazine or two of the defensive ammo of your choice through the magazines you're actually going to be carrying with, right? So if you're carrying with one in the gun and one in a spare magazine holster or in your pocket, well, you should test reliability with both. Because I purchased like brand new gun with 2 mags, and the gun itself was flawless. One mag had issues right out of the box. The other was good. I bought 5 mags for it later. They were all good. Yeah, I've had a bad magazine from a very major name brand. Actually from Taurus, just to be blunt. I love Taurus G2C mags. They're completely awesome. I think I'm up to like 20 mags because the G3 and the G2C and the G3, that's why I love them. They're all interchangeable, right? And I bought a few extra mags when they were like, what were they? $14.99 on Palmetto on that one super sale they had a while back, or $18, whatever. 19 of my mags that work in those guns are perfect. Never had a hitch in them. I always recommend Taurus OEM mags to you guys, don't I? Because I do believe in them. But I had one mag that had a hitch. Now, the mag ended up actually being fine in the long run. What it was is there was the follower had like some extra material from like the mold line, the molding that's in the follower. And it was just like a fray that was hanging off in there. And it was causing a bunch of extra friction where the follower wasn't able to move up with enough speed. It was too much drag. And I was finally able to get in there and just barely pick away. I used like a little edge of a razor blade, picked away the little like stringy things that were kind of gobbing up the follower. Now the mag works. But if I had never tested that and didn't know that, I would have had failures to feed, potentially, possibly, in the fight of my life when I was trying to protect myself or my family from imminent, irreversible harm or death. There you go. I'm sure you guys have tons of stories too that people should take into account. Brandon Frady with a super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Says, I got a Taurus G3C for my birthday. It was $285. Not bad. Not bad at all. I appreciate your advice with it. Mine does shoot low. What fiber optic sights are best for it? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. See, here's the thing. People say it takes Glock sights, but then I bought some Glock sights for it, and the one connection in the front wasn't quite right. I need to do a video on that, don't I? I need to do a video on it. There's so many videos I want to do, though, guys, but I don't have money to do them all, but you just helped with that. I need to do a video on it because it does take Glock sights. It does, but it kind of sort of doesn't at the same time. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Mark Corby, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. He says, fast is fine, but accuracy is final. Wyatt Earp. Hey, there you go. Yeah, that is true. Accuracy is final. I like that one. I actually haven't heard that one before. Seems like I probably should have heard it. Should have I heard that one, Mark? I don't know, man. But no, see if you can help our friend out here with the Taurus site. Some of you guys have done this already. Look, I've done a lot of stuff on the Tauruses. I actually have some stuff I really want to do like next week. Next week, I want to do a Taurus video or two, to be honest with you guys. I'm really in the mood. But the whole sights are a little bit of a funny thing, at least with the True Glow sights that I got for the Glock. The front sight, I don't know. I think I need to do a video on it is what it comes down to. But those videos are tough to do too, because Susan Wiki, she doesn't like it when she calls it modifying and all this. Ugh. That's the thing people don't realize either. It sucks sometimes on here. You know, we're on a place where they really don't want us to be, and the type of content I do. I'm a gun channel. There's a lot of videos I've spent a lot of time on, guys. Spent a lot of time on it. Put it up there. Unlisted, only for Susan to come in and say, not so much. She didn't like it. And I spent my time and spent the money doing it, and you guys never even saw it. And then sometimes when that happens, I'm like, you know what? Screw this crap. I'm just not going to put any videos up for a week because why? Because maybe Susan will allow, maybe she won't, right? Look, there's going to be a million videos out there where they show you everything to do with sites. And that's the problem. They'll show site installations. They'll show people doing this and that, all kinds of crazy stuff. They'll show you stuff that has nothing to do with the gun community that's even out and out criminal. You'll see on here. I get it, guys. But here's the problem. They don't really tell you what the true rules are on here. So, like, I don't know. Maybe if I did 10 videos on sites, she'd be fine with like half of them. Maybe she'd be fine with 9. I don't know. Maybe on your channel, for those of you that have channels, she'd be fine with you doing site installs for 10 videos straight. But then on my very first one, she might not like it. I don't know. There's just certain videos that kind of give me a little bit of the pause because I've tried them or adjacent videos in the past, and she goes, ding. She goes, not so much, scoundrel. Ding, ding. You're not allowed to help these people upgrade their guns too much now. Jack Perkins, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. He says, I can find FMJ, but in defensive ammo, I have to buy a new gun. Gotcha. So I probably gave this long explanation that had nothing to do with your scenario, so hopefully there's someone out there that did actually help him, though, right? Right, Jack? And here's the thing. Maybe Jack's like, dude, I already knew all that, man. Okay, well, hopefully maybe you have a friend that you can say, you know, hopefully I was helping somebody else out. Because it was a very interesting question. And I had a feeling that wasn't the exact question Jack was asking, guys, okay? But I thought I'd go on a little thing with it anyways, because I'm like, you know what? There's people with some pretty tough dilemmas out there. There's people who are really, really struggling financially right now. And yeah. Same. Susan Wiki, modified guns gives me nightmares. Just as someone thought I was going to lie. I told you guys, I can't make this stuff up. Let's look at this Michigan Senate resolution. Is anyone excited about that or just me? I'm excited about it. Hopefully all you Michiganders are excited about it. But hey, everybody, really, this is stuff that we need to be paying attention to. Like I'm watching, I don't know if he's still in here, but my buddy V.A. Wolf, he's doing a lot in Virginia, like a lot. And I watch him because, see, we need people like him in Virginia because that's actually helping us strategize and plan in Michigan too. It is. If there's someone watching from Wyoming, yeah, us from Michigan are here to help you, and you better be ready to help us. Like, we'll help each other with this because you can look. This is what happens. There'll be an anti-gun bill. There'll be an anti-American bill. As soon as one state comes up with it, Bloomberg passes it out to all 50 states. So if you guys in your state see this Michigan Senate resolution and you think, dude, this is an awesome Senate resolution, it's this simple. Print the thing out, mail it to them, go see your representative or senator in your state, hand it to them, text them, call them, copy a link, email them, say, look at this Michigan Senate Resolution 22. I want that in the state of Missouri, Nebraska, Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Alaska, California. Go for it. You guys are getting ready to, he's going to be out, right? You guys are getting rid of Newsom, right? It's called recall. Hey, let's recall Newsom and have the California Senate 22 resolution. I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying? Florida. So at first you guys are going to be like, well, hold on a minute. He lives in Michigan. Who cares? I don't know. Maybe you don't care, but I would if I were you. I'm watching what all you guys are doing all the time, rooting you guys on, condemning the tyrants in your states. I get a lot of good information, actually, a lot of encouragement from people in all these 50 states watching you guys, you know, what you're doing, putting up the good fight. I just said V.A. Wolf because, like, you know, I'm thinking of him. Like, he does a lot. Now, there's probably someone watching that does more than him. I ain't trying to pick a favorite, but there's some people out there that are really, really kicking butt. And it really should be encouragement for all of us to go out there. And At least do a little bit, right? Just do a little bit of something and talk to your friends. And here's the cool thing. Once you get more pro-gun friends going, then you can go to these rallies and do it like with your friends. So then it's like not even work anymore. It's like I go to Michigan. I go to the Michigan Capitol. Are you kidding me? Oh, geez, this sucks. I get to hang out with – no, it doesn't suck. I'm being sarcastic. I get to hang out with, with Rick, who's probably in here right now. I get to hang out with Rob. Oh, there's Mike Detmer. There's Catherine Henry. I mean, I can go on and on. If I keep listing names, someone's going to get mad because they're like, oh, he forgot me. No, I'll see like 50 of you guys. Maybe I'll see 100 of you, That's not work. I mean, you don't have to make this hard, treacherous work like, oh, my gosh, I have to go to my state capitol today. Blah, blah, blah. If you want it to be that way, guess what it can be? Or it could be like, dude, there's like 3,000 like totally like kick butt people on the Capitol lawn. And I rode in the car with 3 or 4 good friends. We had a blast on the way there. Hopefully you do on the way back, and then you just meet some people. Like you can literally just kind of walk up to people at these 2A events in your state capitals. Be like, how's it going, man? What's up? You might meet people like, probably not might, like you will, guaranteed. Meet like some really, really cool people. And then it's like, oh, that was cool. I just hung out with a bunch of buddies or my people or whatever you want to call it. So go for it, guys. It doesn't have to be hard work. See, the left wants to discourage you and make it sound onerous, blah, blah, blah. No, a freaking third grader can understand these things. Look, we were endowed by our Creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you have those, like, what more could you possibly need? You don't need money to make you happy. I see all kinds of drug-addicted, unhappy celebrities, rich people. I've seen some happy ones too, but money's not going to make you happy. Being famous isn't going to make people happy. But if you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, a small child understands that. See, a lot of adults get so stupid and so, set in their ways and so, quite frankly, brainwashed and programmed that they think life just has to suck all the time. No, it actually doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. And you can actually have a lot of fun complaining about stuff. You can sit there on a Friday night and complain about it just enough to go have a blast shooting with your buddy tomorrow. And you should be really happy if you start talking about things like the Declaration of Independence. I mean, think about it. Endowed by our Creator, amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the Second Amendment's there to guard that and defend that. And to acknowledge that our government doesn't have the right to take these away. And that actually gives me a lot of comfort and a lot of peace and a lot of happiness. And then you go to these rallies at your Capitol, these different, groups that you go to and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what it's all about, right? So don't even think for 1 minute. People are like, look, and here's something else I'll tell you guys. People are like, oh, man, all the Second Amendment is this is a bunch of old biddies and curmudgeons. And no, that's actually not true at all. I know people that are in their 70s that are watching the channel right now, and they're like some of the coolest people ever. Like you can hang out with them and do all the fun, modern, young people stuff with them you want, and they're just cool as heck, and they're cooler than all these libtard people in their 20s I've ever met, and they're in their 70s, okay? Yeah. You know what, though? I've also met people that are college age that are fun as heck to hang out with that are at these rallies. There's beautiful women at the rallies. There's handsome guys for you girls out there that are watching the stream tonight. No. You see Wayne LaPierre. Wayne LaPierre gets up there. I'm Wayne LaPierre. I'm with the NRA. Sleepy Joe gets up there. Where am I? What's going on? This is my wife. This is my daughter. They switched on me. Do you guys remember that? This is my wife. This is my daughter. That's old Shotgun Joe, they call him. Sleepy Shotgun Joe, otherwise known very politely as the former vice president. No, that's not what it's like when you go to these things. There's like cool people. I'm telling you, there's cool people, good looking people, smart people, fun people. There really, really are. Joe Biden, I've got 2 shotguns for my home, he said. Go out back and fire 2 blasts. And then you go around like real gun people, and it's like, oh, okay. This is like the funnest rock concert I've been at, along with one of the best church prayer groups you've ever been at, along with a nice, county fair festival, like combine it all into one, and then like some of the smartest people you've ever seen that are usually the guest speakers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you don't think that's a good time, stay at home. But I think it's an awesome time. All right, let me sit here and share my screen, guys. I just saw the corner of my eye. Chris Plummer, good night all. Do not comply. Well, thank you, Chris, for the encouragement. Do not comply, sir. I like that advice. Simple, but pointed. Do not comply, he said. I said that earlier, didn't I? I said, that's up to you guys. Do you want to comply or don't you want to comply? I don't know. That's up to you. But check this out. This is pretty cool. Let me share this. This is 2021 SR 22. Let me look here. I don't know if that's coming in big enough, but the link for it's down in the description if you want to read it later. I'm going to try to read this real quick. This is pretty fun. Senate Resolution number 22. This is in Michigan, okay? And I'm going to start off right now. State Senator Tice, okay? She's got the libtards. They're calling her out. They're calling her an insurrectionist. She needs your support, along with these other people that not only co-sponsored this and voted on it, okay? If your senator voted on it, or if they didn't, I'd call them either way, to give them heck or to praise them. I think we should all take 5 minutes early next week and call the office of or email Senator Tice, because she's, again, they're after her. They're trying to make her sound like a crazy, deranged person. This is her resolution that she started, so I definitely want to mention that. It says, a resolution to firmly affirm support for the preservation of the Second Amendment and to express the sense of the Senate regarding federal laws that infringe on the right to bear arms. Whereas the Michigan Senate is firmly resolved to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against every aggression, either foreign or domestic. Remember that. The Michigan Senate is duty-bound to watch over and oppose every infraction of those principles which constitute the basis of the Union of the States, because only a faithful observance of these principles can secure the nation's existence and the public happiness. And whereas, acting through the Constitution of the United States, the people of the states created the federal government. Remember I said that? This government is created amongst men. The states created the federal government to be their agent and the exercise of a few defined powers, while reserving to the states' governments the power to legislate on matters which concern the lives, liberties, and properties of citizens in the ordinary course of affairs. They're getting into states' rights here is what they're really getting into, and this is good. Good for you guys to think about. Whereas the limitation of the federal government's powers is affirmed under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which defines the total scope of federal power as being that which has been delegated by the people of the state to the federal government, and all power not delegated to the federal government in the Constitution of the United States is reserved to the states respectively or to the people themselves. And that is what the 10th Amendment's all about. There's very small, specific powers that were given, enumerated, meaning in writing in the Constitution, that the federal government would have power over. Everything else, infinite amounts of things. Literally, if it's not in there that the federal government has the power, then they don't. It belongs to the states, and then respectively, ultimately, to the people. And the people have the most control over their own rights. We have control of all of our own rights, but the Constitution itself specifically prohibited the federal government. So I just wanted to go over that before we go on here. It says, whereas federal laws that restrict or prohibit the manufacture, ownership, and use of firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition exclusively within the borders of Michigan exceed the powers granted to the federal government, except to the extent that they are necessary and proper for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces of the United States, or for organizing, arming, and disciplining militia forces actively employed in the service of the United States Armed Services. And so basically they're saying that it restricts them, right? The federal law can still restrict its own military. So if you're actively enlisted in the military, well, yeah, then you're acting as an agent of the government, and that's a little different. Whereas Article 1, Section 8, and I don't mean it's different like they have more rights. I mean, actually the government can actually control those people a little more in their scope and capacity in which they're an agent of the government. So I wanted to clarify what I meant by that. I don't mean that people that work for the government have more rights. That's not what I meant at all. Whereas Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution of the United States provides the federal government with the power to regulate commerce. However, this provision only empowers the government to regulate commerce between states and cannot be used to impose regulations on firearms beyond this scope or that are at cross purposes with the Second Amendment. They've used that interstate commerce clause to do probably more overreach than anything else. Like everything that they do that overreaches, they get through that whole interstate commerce clause, don't they? Thanks for the super chat, Mark Kirby. I appreciate it, man. He says, I do not like the Sleepy Joe, his creepy friends, his kids on blow. I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like this silly sham. Ooh, I think we have a new Dr. Seuss in the house. Good job. I think I actually read that right. That actually rhymed in a very Dr. Seuss way. I like that comment. Thanks, Mark Kirby. That was a good one, wasn't it? All right, let me keep going here. Whereas the people of the United States have also given Congress the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. Okay, so they're listing, yeah, we did give the federal government some power over certain things. All right, including these. We'll go on. And all other powers voted by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. These constitutional provisions merely identify the means by which the federal government may execute its limited powers and should not be construed to give unlimited powers. Bingo. This tells them by means in which they can execute their limited powers and should not be construed to give unlimited powers. We need to remember that. They do not have unlimited power. Unless, of course, we give it to them, then they can just do whatever they want. It continues. Doing so would destroy the balance of power between the federal government and the state governments. We deny any claim that the taxing and spending powers of Congress can be used to diminish in any way the people's right to keep and bear arms. And whereas the people of Michigan have vested the Michigan legislature with the authority to regulate the manufacture, possession, exchange, and use of firearms within this state's borders, subject only to the limits imposed by the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan of 1963. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that we firmly affirm our support for the preservation of the Second Amendment, and be it further resolved that we express the sense of the Senate that all federal acts, laws, orders, rules, and regulations, whether past, present, or future, which infringe on the people's right to keep and bear arms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment. I like how they said guaranteed, guys. They didn't say given. Guaranteed. I like that. They were given to us by our Creator. As guaranteed by the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States in Article 1, Section 6 of the Constitution of the State of Michigan of 1963 are specifically rejected by this legislative body, should be considered invalid in this state, should not be recognized by this state, and should be considered null and void and of no effect in this state. And be it further resolved that such federal acts, laws, orders, rules, and regulations include, but are not limited to, the provisions of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1934. That should have been the National Firearms Act. They should hire me to proofread. They meant to say National Firearms Act of 1934 and the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968. Any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms. So they're saying abolish the NFA. They did mess up big time, though. National Firearms Act of 34. I think 2A EDU needs to go to the Michigan Senate. Anyways, that was a joke, guys. Of 1968, any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition not common to all other goods and services which impose undue burdens on the purchase of ownership of those items by law-abiding citizens, any registering or tracking of firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition which could suppress the purchase or ownership of those items by law-abiding citizens, any registering or tracking of the owners of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition which could discourage the purchase or ownership of those by law-abiding citizens. Let me pause, guys. I still think this is a great resolution. There's a few things I don't like. I actually don't like the law-abiding citizens clause, to be honest with you. It should be all citizens, because the Second Amendment doesn't say the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed from law-abiding citizens. It actually doesn't say that at all. It doesn't say Congress shall pass no law abridging the freedom of speech of law-abiding citizens. So look, I can be realistic here. I love this resolution. I hate the law-abiding citizens part. I'm just being frank. Doesn't say that. The Declaration doesn't acknowledge that law-abiding citizens were endowed by their creators life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Look, some people are going to get mad at me for saying that. Look, I get it, guys. If they're so dangerous they can't exercise their rights, why are they on the street with us? That'd be my argument. But whatever. I believe these rights belong to all people, actually, whether they're law-abiding or not. But I'll continue here. Firearm accessories or ammunition, law-abiding citizens. Okay, any act forbidding the possession, ownership, or use or transfer of any type of firearm accessory, or ammunition by law-abiding citizens. Any act ordering the confiscation of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition from law-abiding citizens. And be it further resolved that we express the sense of the Senate that it is the duty of the courts and law enforcement agencies of the state to protect the rights of law-abiding citizens and keep and bear arms within the borders of this state from infringements on the right to bear arms. You know what? I think it's actually a really good resolution, and I am happy with it. And look, everything's just not 100% black and white, right? I don't like it that they just mention law-abiding citizens so many times, and you guys are going to have different opinions on that. I totally get it. But you know what? It's still a step in the right direction, you know? I mean, of course I want it all, and I want the most purest. Look, I want to, like, resurrect Alexander Hamilton and James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, and I'd rather have them running our country right now. But I don't want perfect to get in the way of good enough. I still think this is a really, really good resolution, because right now they're trying to take away our God-given rights enshrined in the Second Amendment for everybody, period. And if all of us become outlaws, well, then I guess we'll all be outlaws. Or if they outlaw guns, then I guess only outlaws will carry guns. But I do still take, and I don't know. I have a feeling half of you is going to agree with what I'm saying. Half of you aren't. Who cares? Whatever. I get it. Whether you're law-abiding or not doesn't really have anything to do with whether you have rights or not. And then someone's always going to come back and say, but hold on, 280, hold on. This guy murdered 12 people. They let him out on parole. He killed 12 more. And if he's let out again, he's guaranteed to kill 12 more. Okay. Look. This is a bad guy. I'm not supporting him. I don't like him. I don't like bad people. I don't at all. I hate mean people. I don't like bad people. Whatever. Why is he on the streets amongst us? Why is he on the streets? No gun control law is ever going to stop that guy. I think that's a fact. He's going to find whatever he needs. He's going to get it however he needs. And remember, more people are killed with hands and feet every year than what the government would like to classify as so-called assault weapons. That's not my word. I reject that word. But when they refer to them as assault weapons in their bans, their bills, more people are killed with hands and feet. So if he's so dangerous that it's just inevitable, like it's basically a guarantee. There is actually people in prison and their parole hearings where they're like, if we were to let you out, what would you do? The first thing I'd do is kill 10 more. People say that sometimes. They actually admit it. You guys have probably seen some of these hearings on TV and YouTube. Okay, well, then don't let him out. Like, I guess some people can't be reformed. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole, like, what should criminal reform be? But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, why are they out amongst us if they're that dangerous? And here's the other thing, too, I'll add to that topic. Freedom isn't free. It's not easy, and there is a little bit of inherent danger, right? Isn't that another great Founding Fathers quote? Those who would give up an essential liberty for a little bit of perceived safety deserve neither liberty nor safety, and they'll probably end up with neither. That's where the fine line is, because we have statutes that deem what a bad person is. Well, heck, me having this Mr. Potato Head, there's people that probably deem me a terrible person, you know, for things like this. And we're seeing, you know, phenomenal books that are getting outlawed and banned and all these things censored, targeted. So just because someone's a criminal doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad dude. And just because they're, quote, law-abiding doesn't mean they're a good person either. There's like all kinds of people who just haven't been caught or caught yet that are doing all kinds of crazy crap. And then there's someone that like didn't dot their I's or cross their T properly on paperwork. And now they're supposed to be so bad they can't exercise their rights. I don't know. It's just not a black and white issue. Am I trying to shred this resolution? No, actually, I was bringing it for encouragement and hope, and I think it's a great resolution, and I think that it should be passed in all 50 states. But while I'm reading it, I just kind of paused, and this is me going on a tangent. This isn't me arguing against the resolution. I'm not trying to defeat it. But I don't know. There's all that law-abiding citizen stuff, and it's like, ooh. I don't know. It's like that old saying, truth is treason in the empire of lies, right? Something that you could have once been called a hero, or maybe even today you're considered a hero, or you're considered to be highly regarded by certain things you might say or do today in this country, could later on deem you to be a criminal. And would those rights leave you? No, actually. You'll always have these rights no matter what. And if you're so bad, you're just an animal, you're just a broken soul that just can't be fixed somehow or another. I don't understand how the human mind works exactly. But you guys know what I mean by that. You're broken, you can't be fixed. Then why are you amongst us? I don't know. That's how I think about it. Some people are going to agree with me. Some people are going to hate me for it. But that's okay. That's okay. I like all you guys anyways. Mike McClune with the super sticker. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Did you have a comment to go with it? Did she cut you off, or were you just being generous? I appreciate it, though. I appreciate the generosity, man. That's a cool looking little robotic. Is that kind of like a hippopotamus? That's like a... Oh, gosh, she has to be asleep now. But I think my daughter would like that little creature you got on there. That's pretty cool. I'm talking about his super sticker. I've never seen that one yet. Thanks, man. It's got the little rocket launcher on the... I would have liked that to Congress. Nancy Pelosi, I object. And that strolls into the House floor, whatever that little cute creature is. I think it's hippopotamus. I'm not sure exactly. Borg hippo it is. Okay. Thanks, Ron Hensley. Look, guys, I'm not up with all the hipster stuff, okay? I just called you a hipster, Ron. No, I'm messing with you, dude. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it, man. I got it right, though. It's a hippo. I'd like it if it was elected to Congress. Pelosi, does anyone object? That thing strolls into the House floor. I object. Oh, boy. All right. I'm going to go here real quick. There's one more thing I want to go through. Geez, time flies. See what you guys do to me? I have so much fun hanging out with you. It's like, boom, 2 hours is gone. But, so we have this pro 2A, more or less pro states' rights resolution. Michigan Senate Resolution 22. Links down in the description, as well as many other great links I would encourage you guys to use. Hint, hint. All right. Definitely send that, though, to your state's legislatures. Look, anyone in Michigan, okay? Okay, will you please call Senator Tice and give her some support? You'll understand why in a second. Because we can't just only complain when we don't want them to do stuff, because then they do stuff that we want them to do, okay? And then, like, if nobody has their back and all they do is get canceled, we don't want them to be getting negative reassurance, right? We don't want them to say, oh, geez, that's the last time we try to do anything pro 2A. So, look, let's condemn, let's fight back against the people that we need to, that are trying to deprive us of our natural rights. And look, you don't need to kiss their butt. Don't take me to the opposite team. You don't need to call them up. And look, we're not supposed to bow or worship to anybody but God. So don't worship these people. But it's okay to call up and say, Senator Tice, thank you for doing your job that you were elected to do. It's the truth. Are these guys heroes because they wrote this resolution? No. But a little thanks just to say, hey, thanks for doing your job, unlike all these other ones that opposed it, unlike these right here. So check this out. This is from MLive. This is basically like the state media for Michigan. This is the Michigan Ministry of Truth, if you will. From they call her many things. What should I call her today? The governor of Michigan. They call her many things. I'm just not going to call her by name at all right now. This is basically her propaganda arm. So I picked this for a reason. MLive, they call themselves. Michigan Senate reaffirms Second Amendment in resolution Democrats call insurrectionist. Look, guys, there's a Democrat in the chat right now saying, dude, I'm a Democrat. Stop. Hey, I'm not making it like this. It just so happens to be that for some reason they're making it where Democrats have to be anti-2A and some Republicans are pro-2A, some are anti. I've gotten into that topic in the past. I won't do it again tonight. I don't know. You go to the federal United States Congress, every single one of the Democrats votes anti-gun every time. You go to the Michigan. Actually, we're going to see this was voted on party lines. The Democrats opposed this. The Republicans supported it. Hey, it's just the way it is right now. Don't really like Republicans either, okay? But check this out right here. Lansing, Michigan. Michigan senators bickered Wednesday over a resolution that would charge the state with defending the Second Amendment from any future federal gun control measures. Hear, hear. Senate Resolution 22, sponsored by Senator Lana Tice. Okay, you need to call her Lana. I think is how she actually pronounces it. Senator Tice, Republican from Brighton. Seriously, guys, do it. Write this down in your notes. Get on her website, send an email, give her a call, say, here, thank you. Thanks for doing your job. I'll keep, helping pay your paycheck as long as you support. You guys know how to word it, but they need some encouragement because they're getting called insurrectionists. Let me skim on here a little bit further. It says, sponsored by Senator Tyson Brighton. Seeks to preserve Second Amendment by stating that the state Senate would oppose federal laws that infringe on the right to keep and bear arms. The resolution passed along partisan lines. So again, I'm not saying we can't hang out because you're like a Democrat and I don't even want to say Republican, but I would tend to vote way more that way. Like I would never vote Democrat. Our two-party system sucks, but I digress. But when you get on this level, yeah, it's the Democrats versus Republicans on partisan lines. The resolution passed 20-15, okay? And I'm sorry, but I'm with Phoenix Ammo. If you voted for the former vice president, don't even shop here. If you voted for that crap, you're the reason why we're in this mess. I'm going to get some nasty comments for saying that. But hey, whatever. You still have the right. The right belongs to everybody. But don't come crying to me if you voted for that crap willingly knowing it. And you knew. And he said, if you elect me, I'm going to put him in charge. I'm going to make Beto O'Rourke my guns are. And we're going to come for your guns. And we're going to take your guns. And we're going to end it all. And they promised it. And they preached it many, many times. And I have proof of that on a video on this channel. Whatever. Phoenix Ammo doesn't want to sell guns to people, or ammo rather to people that tried to put his business and deprive all of us of our natural liberties. Good. Don't sell it to him. I'm fine with that. Now, if somebody else wants to sell it to him, I have no choice but to be fine with that too. But I thought it was kind of a good thing. All right. Check this out. This is where it gets sick. The resolution passed along partisan lines. Senator Erica Geis, so we've got Tice and Geis, Democrat from Taylor, called it insurrectionist. And listen to this. This is a real beauty. They call her Senator Erica Geis. Geis. I've never even heard of her. Democrat from Taylor. I'm sure they call her many things. We'll just call her a real beauty tonight. But when we say beauty, we mean in a different kind of way, of course. It's not a compliment. She says, this resolution is 4 pages of dark, insurrection-laden language and militia support that challenges the laws of this land. I just read every word of it to you guys. Like, literally, remember when I said truth is treason and the empire of lies? Like, this woman has got to be bat crap crazy. Look, the link's in the description. Read it again, guys. There's going to be one reasonable person that's going to come in the comments and harass me tonight. They'll harass me at 3 a.m., Probably won't be up anymore to watch it, but that's all right. They'll say, hold on a minute. You're being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable. Read this crap. I just read the resolution. So here we go. This real beauty. This resolution is 4 pages of dark, insurrection-laden language and militia support. First of all, insurrection, language, and militia, actually in the right context, those are very, very good compliments. So thanks for the compliment, Miss Beautiful. See, they get mad when you call them good looking too. You can call them good looking, they get offended. You call them ugly, they get offended. Just by us breathing, they get offended. That's good. It's good when they're offended. It's a resolution, she continues, that says that if we don't like the laws, we'll meet you at the Michigan border with our guns. Here, to the border, people. That actually sounds good. It's incredible how fast you'll do anything to protect your guns. It is actually incredible. This is an incredible country where it was a pretty risky experiment on self-governance. I think it's incredible that we actually gambled and actually said, you know what? the people are going to be able to handle this, and they're going to allow this government to last just as long as it has its consent. And then if it doesn't, after a long train of usurpations, it says, right? It refers to despots. It refers to all these types of people that they're quoting in this article here. Then it's your right. It's your duty to throw off such chains. Doesn't it say that in the Declaration? Actually, you know what's kind of interesting is, in the context that she means it, this is actually like one of the most ridiculous things I've ever read in my life. Think about this for 2 seconds, guys. Then I'm going to get off of here because it's past some of your bedtimes. Think about this. If you literally just read what I just said, we know in the context, but let's read it in actually a different light. This is actually like, heck yeah, I agree with you. The Democrat from Taylor, heck yeah. It says, this resolution is 4 pages of dark. Okay, dark I don't know about, but listen to the rest of it. Insurrection-laden language and militia support that challenges the laws of this land. Okay. Challenging unconstitutional laws? Well, yeah. Sounds rather patriotic to me. Okay. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Okay. Here. Challenging unconstitutional laws? All right. If I didn't know that she wasn't like meaning all this backwards, I think she might get my vote. But let me continue here. This is the Democrat, Erica Guys. It's a resolution that says if we don't like the laws, we'll meet you at the Michigan border with our guns. And to me, I don't think a more patriotic statement has been spoken in a long time, actually. Wow. Is this a situation where she's gotten so stupid she's smart? It's incredible how fast you'll do anything to protect your guns. Yeah, it is incredible. People better act fast because we've got nut jobs like this. I don't know. Do you guys see like the irony? I'm having a good time with this all of a sudden. It's like, so wait a minute now. Why is this? What's wrong here? Throw off unjust laws. Okay, cool. All right. We'll meet you at the border. Well, yeah, I mean, that's how all these states in this country were founded. Okay. All right, I'm going to continue real quick, guys. Guys continue by saying, since armed protesters packed into the Michigan State Capitol on April 30th, go back to my channel. A lot of you probably didn't watch it then. It's still a really small channel, but it was a little smaller then. I have footage of that day. I was there, okay? I was there showing, children, women, the women and children. Cover the women and children's eyes, they say, right? No. It was like a totally peaceful event. And there were lots of very fine people there. Lots of very fine people. And I have video footage to show it and to prove it on this channel. I was there. Cruz, thanks for the super chat, man. Power to the people. Thank you, 2AEDU. Viva Puerto Rico. Heck yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Lots of gun people in Puerto Rico, I've been learning too. Puerto Rican Americans, people that, yeah. Of Puerto Rico, from Puerto Rico. I've seen all kinds of scenarios, and I didn't realize that. I've learned a lot from this channel. I thought, Puerto Rico, that's an anti-gun territory, protectorate, whatever it's technically called, essentially, So I was like, no, but I've learned a lot. Lots of pro-gun people. So shout out to Puerto Rico, man. She says, we had rioters in this space up there. She said, pointing up to the upper deck. I was actually up there at a certain point. I was up there recording video for you guys. Hovering over with firearms, literally telling us we're here to make sure you vote right. Again, making sure you vote right. I thought that's why they have a gallery. Now, it was totally legal then. Now illegal. You could open carry in the Capitol then. None of these people were breaking any laws or rules. Now, since then, though, the Senate Majority Leader, Mike Shirkey's his name, Republican. Here's another real beauty. Now, this is interesting. He's one of the sponsors of this HR 22, okay? Mike Shirkey's his name. Senator Shirkey. He co-sponsored this Senate resolution. However, he was the one that basically encouraged and gave up, told the Capitol Commission. I did 2 videos on it, guys. Go back and check it out. He's basically one that suggested and told the Capitol Commission to ban open carry in the Capitol, in the Capitol building. So now it's so-called illegal to carry because of the Senate Majority Leader Republican that was a co-sponsor of this bill. But no, those people weren't breaking any laws. And again, unjust laws shouldn't be followed anyways. So there you go. Jack Perkins, thanks for the super chat, man. I said, I used to be a criminal, but after my daughter was born, I got away from it. But I was never charged, so I can still own guns. Well, hey, that's good, man. And, whether it's good, whether you got caught or not, okay, whatever. Who cares, right? But the fact that you moved on from that, and that's a good thing. Like I said, there's people that have done bad things and are still good people, right? There really are. And there's people, that are really bad people that occasionally do good things. You can have both. My big thing is this, though, like just to say, all right, these rights are only given to the law-abiding. I don't think so. Because certainly they had laws at that time, of England, from England, our founding fathers. They certainly knew what nations of laws were. They could have said that on any of these rights if they wanted to. See, that's the problem with people right now. All these idiots, these fools, they think, well, we're so much smarter and more advanced than the founding fathers. No, I don't think so. The founding fathers couldn't have possibly understood what the term law-abiding meant. Well, actually, they could have. They knew what the word law-abiding meant. They were probably smarter than most of us, to be honest. And I say collectively. There's probably someone in here a little smarter. I'll give you guys that. But most of us, yeah, they're smarter than us, right? If the founding fathers wanted to, and they wanted to say, this is a country, okay, that's created of law-abiding men, that the government will have to operate at the consent of the law-abiding. They would have put that in there. And they would have put the right to keep and bear arms for every law-abiding citizen shall not be infringed. And that's why this resolution's great, but it is great. I'm glad. I'm happy. And we still need to call up, Senator Lana Tice and support her for her resolution, because the other side's trying to literally call her an insurrectionist and destroy her over this, okay? But with that said, none of these people, they couldn't even carry, as the old saying goes, they couldn't even carry George Washington or Alexander Hamilton's jockstrap, if you really think about it. But still, I mean, I guess right now, and I'm not trying to give in or acquiesce, but I'll take a small victory over a loss. So I guess it's still a good resolution, okay? Don't get me wrong. But, man, that whole law-abiding citizen thing over and over and over. I don't see the law-abiding citizen written anywhere, not even once in the Bill of Rights, not even once. And certainly the colonists thought that we could punish people. Don't mistake what I'm saying here. I'm not saying people should do whatever the heck they want and just totally get by with it scot-free. Oh, heck no. Quite the opposite. I believe in rule of law and that we should be a rule of law country. I firmly believe in the rule of law. But when we say rule of law, we don't mean these 600-page bills that they haven't even read. I mean rule of law is in like the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. That is the law of the land. That's the law of the land. And under that rule of law, I'm a firm believer, 100% rule of law. But half this stuff out right now that's so-called quote-unquote laws right now are literally insane. So, hey, take it for what it's worth. But I think the founding fathers, I don't think they were too stupid. What do you guys think about that before I get off of here? Is there anyone that believes that, that was just a oversight, George Washington or, we'll say Alexander Hamilton? George Washington wasn't really that active in writing the Constitution, okay? So we'll talk about Madison more specifically. Madison, Hamilton, these people that were writing like Federalist Papers and, the Anti-Federalist Papers. Read all these writings. Read both the Federalist Papers, Anti-Federalist Papers. These guys knew what the rule of law meant. Duh. They want us to be a totally rule of law country that would be instituted amongst men. But the main goal of the government would be to preserve our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So rule of law doesn't mean that, if H.R. 127 passes and Madam Speaker Pelosi, no, that's not what that means. I don't support 127 if it becomes a law. I don't support the National Firearms Act. And that's why I think this Senate Resolution 22 is actually really good, because it's basically saying we reject and disavow and won't enforce any of these gun laws, because they're acknowledging all gun laws are unconstitutional. And that they're very correct. That's awesome. And that's what the founding fathers intended. And that's why they wrote it down like they did. However, to be fair, the founding fathers didn't put asterisk law-abiding citizen after each one. Does that make sense, guys? It's kind of a tough topic to explain in a way. But, yeah. They just basically... So, it's good. It's good. Mr. C, thanks for the super sticker, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Someone said, and the 10 Commandments, and I do not want to forget that. The 10 Commandments are probably the supreme law for a lot of people, for your personal moral compass. And no doubt, the 10 Commandments were a big part of the foundation of the laws of this country, because this country was founded. You don't have to be one. That's the beauty of the First Amendment. Whatever religion you want to practice, I'm fine with. Don't tread on me with your religious liberties. If you're not treading on me, do what you want. I don't care. Literally, God bless you. I don't even mean that sarcastically. However, we were set up on the Christian principles. The founding fathers were generally of the Christian faith, or at least professed as such, right? So yes, the 10 Commandments, very heavy influence, yes. Now, also in the Bible, it says, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So there's different ways to look at how much religion should have to do with following the rule of law versus following your God. I'm going to stop there. It's not meant to be a deep religious dive. However, yeah, of course we're rule of law, but we're not rule of law as in like HR 127 and all the perversion of power that's been exercised by the Congress over the last, 250 years almost at this point. All right, well, the chat went by really quick tonight. I'm definitely going to go back and read, guys. Just because I may not have read your chat out loud tonight doesn't mean I didn't read it, and it definitely means I won't read it later. So I appreciate all you guys. And real quick, if you forgot, just give me a quick thumbs up. Even if you don't want to support the channel, you can tick off Susan Wiki, and that's okay. I'm trying to be friends with her, but it's not going so well. So give me a thumbs up just to tick Susan Wiki off. And I have more videos already ready for you guys that we'll have out next week. And I'll be back here again in 7 short days, 9:30 every Friday. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate all of you a lot. Thanks a lot. And here's one right here I wanted to say hi to. I'm picking him as my favorite because he's from Michigan. Threaded for my pleasure. What's happening, man? Now, hi to all of you guys. I told you earlier I was biased to Michigan. Don't get mad at me now. He's from Michigan. That's why All right, guys, I'm out of here. Don't forget to email me if you have a little one. I want to send this to someone. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.